So, but even the newer country, I'll kind of stick it together. Like current songs, there's so very few that actually that hit. At a wedding, it's just I'm way more choosy on what songs I'm playing.
Unbelievable. Another Thursday, or whatever day it happens to be that you tune into Mobile Music Thursday. At least you know when it was released, right? Jason Jones here for another week, and I'm super excited about our guest this week. When am I not excited? Well, I won't be excited when I meet a boring DJ. So far, have not yet met one. Tonight, I'm really excited to share with you someone that I've had the pleasure of knowing for a number of years, a very talented individual that has a very successful company out of Eau Claire, Wisconsin. And not only does he have a DJ company where he himself performs regularly, primarily for weddings and corporate events, but also has a couple of DJs that he's influenced and trained and made a difference for that work for his company that go out and provide really amazing experiences and really fun nights and fun wedding receptions. He's also the owner of a promotions company in the Eau Claire area, Eau Claire Promo Events, and there he does a lot of servicing with providing promotions for major music festivals and concerts, as well as bar promotions. And they're expanding and getting into business marketing and that sort of thing. Really connecting entertainment and marketing where it intersects in those two areas. So it's really going to be exciting to hear about his skills and the way that he approaches music. And the person I'm talking about is Shawn Welter out of Eau Claire, Wisconsin, who's been a DJ for 20 years. Count them, 20! But we won't. So you started when you were 3, right?
Pretty much, yeah.
Exactly. I know. Yeah, that's how it goes. It's like, and you look at like a day over 20.
Yeah, it's the hairdo.
Isn't it, though? It's beautiful. Shawn, thanks for being on the show. This is really so great to get your insight and your experience. So when you're going to go do a wedding, let's just pick something. Let's focus on weddings. So you've got like really multiple elements to your to your business and your company, and even the way that you provide service and experiences to brides. But let's focus in on weddings and the music. Now, when you're going to go in and start playing that wedding dance and playing music, what is your game plan in general with how you're going to format your music out for the night before you take into the consideration the specifics of your audience and your bride and groom and that sort of thing?
My game plan is to get things off and going as fast as possible. So I've been using the same thing for, I don't even know when I learned it, but the basic snowball dance to start things off usually. The song can be different depending on the couple, their crowd, but usually I want to get people out there right away, and then I'm going to use every song that I can think of, the most popular songs, to keep things going from the start.
Sure. And tell me, what is the snowball? Describe that for me, in case there are those that aren't familiar with it.
Sure, it's kind of like when you were in elementary school, where you start off with these kids, and everyone has to go out and grab one person and bring them back out to the floor. So I usually start off with a wedding party, and use them to go out and grab guests and bring them out. And I just basically yell out "snowball" every once in a while. They go out, grab somebody, bring them back out. By the end of the song, whatever that song is that I chose, dance floor is completely packed, and it's off to the races.
Oh, very cool. All right, that's great. That's a great idea. And so it gets everybody up. It gets people they're using peer pressure, basically like, come on out and dance. So you're getting your floor filled just like that with a song that you've selected that you think is going to be popular with them. Because you said that can depend on the. What if the bride and groom gave you no direction and you're just going to choose one? What would be one that you might choose to do that with?
You can use, the super popular ones like Celebration, I Got a Feeling, any of those really nice, super, super popular songs that start off kind of building and work into something. So
great. Okay, super. So you get energy going like right off the bat, like inject it with energy. Now kind of where do you go format wise? Just in general, before we get into some specifics.
In general, I just pick the heaters. Just go the hottest songs that I can think of at the time. It doesn't necessarily have to be a genre based, I guess, or time area based. But I try to start off a little older music and work my way. But I do like to throw in some newer songs just so the younger guests know that that is going to get played. Maybe not as much early, but it's still going to get sprinkled in there from time to time.
Sure, it's like kind of a little tease, a preview of a coming attraction. There's going to be more of this later.
Exactly.
So. And so now when you say like the older music, can you define that a little bit, like by decade or by genre?
Sure. I would say it's changed a lot throughout the course of me DJing, but I would say like 60s, 50s would be the older stuff. I don't really normally play a lot of anything before that anymore. And obviously as time goes on, it'll probably move into the 70s and that. But
do you find yourself being even more selective with the 50s and 60s?
Yeah, most
like is
definitely.
it a smaller group of songs that you're pulling from that era just because it's so long ago now?
Yeah, most definitely. You're picking the songs that even the younger people are going to know because they're that popular of a song. So, some of the Beatles, Elvis, some of those mega superstar mega hits kind of things that everyone's going to know.
Sure. Okay. So you're getting into that familiar, that the 60s, a few from the 50s, 60s, maybe 70s in that older set. Is that and that makes up what, about like 80% of the first hour, would you say?
I would say so. Yeah, most definitely. And then I usually try to do some type of a slow set within the first 45 minutes or so.
Okay, why do you try to do that, add that slow set in that, well, I don't want to say that soon to imply you shouldn't, but just like quickly into the event. Is there, what's your specific motivation with that?
Another one of those things of, because I've had them dancing really, really hard for 45 minutes or so, or whatever it may be, let them know that, hey, yep, there's going to be slow songs as well. So if you're not out there, you're one of those people that don't get out there and do the fast dancing, let them know, hey, there is going to be slow dancing as well. So stick around and that'll be going on. So
sure. So signaling everybody that it's like whatever that, those appeals that that there are those people that'll just slow dance. So it's like they know early enough in the night that it's like, well, this is just going to be a rockin' party. Nothing for me. I'm going to leave. You're signaling to them.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay, terrific. And so I want to ask too, in terms of like, when you're playing like from the 60s, 50s, 60s, 70s, that sort of thing, is that cross genre then? So are you doing like country from that era and rock from that era and pop and, you know what I mean? Like, is it you go all over the board with that?
I can at times, depending on, sometimes I will. I won't go into a set of strictly genre based. I'll bounce a little bit depending on if the songs fit well together or not. And that's kind of a by ear type of thing, whether I think it's going to work. But generally with a country, I don't usually mix country with other things back and forth. It's usually a country set.
Oh, okay.
And back and forth. As far as the other types of music, I will kind of genre bounce a little bit and do that kind of stuff. So
like you'll genre bounce between like hip hop and like electronic and rock and contemporary and old rock and that sort of thing. You'll bounce around a lot more and keep your why. So why do you keep your country more isolated and don't just like throw in a Taylor Swift along next to a Black Eyed Peas or Katy Perry?
That I might do. But I don't know. I just seem that the
okay, so there's certain country that you'll block. So is it the classic country you block together, and like new country you're a little bit more free and easy with in terms of going cross genre?
I think so, but even the newer country, I'll kind of stick it together. I just think it's that genre that's people identify. There's really one group that identifies that a lot, and the rest of everyone goes, really? You're playing a country song? I'm out of here.
Oh, okay.
I try to block that together, I guess, as much as I can. Play 3 songs, let them know, hey, we are going to play something else besides country again. So.
Worry not. It's like
exactly.
It's the worry not playlist. Worry not. There's some here for you. There's this a little bit for you too. There's going to be something for everybody. This is a buffet. Right? Okay,
Yeah.
so we get past that hour. We're getting into the say it's a 4-hour dance. Well, let me ask you, how typically, like with your weddings, like how many hours are spent actually doing the dancing with music?
I'm saying it really depends on the couple as far as what we have planned out for the night,
Mm-hmm.
how involved they're going to get with different ice breaking type of events and like the garter bouquet, how complicated that's going to get. But I
Sure.
would say probably 3 hours of dancing, 1 hour of ceremonial type of stuff.
Activities kind of thing. So you're
Yeah,
thinking like when you stop down to do the bouquet toss or you stop down to do the garter and those activities in and around the dance, is that what you're referring to?
right. Yes, maybe even as far as like 2.5, an hour and a half, depending on the group and what we have going on. So
Oh wow. Okay. So now you're getting later into the night. We've gotten the party started in the first hour. So kind of what is your game plan, or kind of what do you follow? What really informs your music choices moving forward with that particular audience? Because you've kind of had an hour to see how they respond to a lot of different music that you've put out there.
I generally will start moving towards some of the newer stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm always checking back with some of the older hits just to see what's going on. I find a lot of times towards the end of the night, you can go back to the older stuff again. Excuse me, and you'll get a better response than you even did earlier in the night.
Oh
So
really? Why
yeah,
is there anything? Do you attribute that to anything that you've observed?
alcohol maybe. I don't know. Yeah, I think people are loosened up. They've been out there dancing, and definitely probably alcohol is involved, and people are just a little bit more um, accepting to whatever kind of music you're playing, especially if you've had them and they have you have their confidence, I guess,
Mm-hmm.
from the
Right,
night.
right.
So
Where they're willing to like, oh, where's Sean taking us now? Oh,
exactly
okay, all
where,
right, this is
where,
cool.
where you
Kind of
want.
like, they're more riding the drift that you're creating rather than like assessing every song. Like, do I like this? Do I want to dance to this? Is this any good? Is this?
Yeah, exactly. So, and I just try to stick with the popular songs, especially at the end. Again, I don't really go too far off throughout the whole night. As far as there's a lot of really, really popular songs that you can play. You don't have to play filler music when it comes to dance music. So
Well, right. Well, with if you're going like typically 2.5 to 3 hours, you could pretty much throw out just about every hook that you have and fill
yeah,
that time. It's not that many songs, really. I guess if we think about it, huh?
yeah, not really.
So,
And
and when you say like the popular songs, like I'll give an example. All summer long, I was asking DJs about the Ariana Grande was like in terms of pop music was really really popular, crazy downloads. Like this should be like a crazy crazy popular song. Yet anybody that did play it, like in terms of throw it out there to see what the response was, it would get like very little response at all, and they would dump out of it, or they weren't even playing it, and they were getting no requests for it. So how do you determine in terms of like what of the newer songs are popular, or is a newer song something that's like a couple of years old?
yeah, it can be something like that. I would say a lot of times when you talk about current songs, there's so very few that actually that hit.
Mm-hmm.
For me anyway. There are a few, and I guess you don't even really know. It's just basically taking requests, and if you think it can work, you throw it in, and sometimes it's just one of your biggest hits of the night. So
Right.
as far as the popular new stuff, usually it's a little bit older, probably 6 months to even a year, I
Mm-hmm.
guess. Especially in our area, in the area that I'm in, radio's a little bit different than it is, say, in Minneapolis or on the West Coast or whatever. So we get music a little bit later here as well. A lot.
You think so? Even with the internet, the access to Pandora and all the streaming services and all that isn't making as much of an impact in the. I mean, Eau Claire's not a small town, but it's not a city
No.
either.
No, I think that makes a difference, definitely. But as far as the radio stations, which are what most people are listening to at work,
Mm-hmm.
most people are listening to in their car driving back and forth if they're not having their iPad or iPod or whatever plugged in. That's what they're hearing. So that's what they're exposed to the most, and I think that makes a huge difference on that as well. Yeah.
Sure, sure. So how do you how do you test to see if do you play Iggy Azalea Fancy? Has that caught on in that area?
Yeah, that one definitely is caught on.
Okay. So when did you was it a request that tipped you off to that, or was it you thought, well, you try it? You know, how do you start incorporating some of these things into your sets?
One of the things is I kind of have my foot on the ground with the bar scene. So when I'm doing that, I'm going to get a little bit more freedom to try stuff out. And then I'll see, like that song was immediately being requested nonstop. So I kind of knew, hey, this one's probably going to be one of those songs. So,
Right. And I'm assuming your bar crowd is between like 21 and 30.
yeah, 21, 40, somewhere there.
Yeah, kind of like your prime getting married, going to weddings kind of thing.
Yeah, so.
Sure. Okay, so that's a great place just for research. And also, I suppose if you throw out a song, it's much less impact if you throw out a song to just try a request at a bar and it doesn't go anywhere. It's like, oh, dump out and do something else, because the expectations are different at a bar gig than it is at a wedding. Yes?
Yes, most definitely. So
elaborate on that. Would you elaborate on like how those expectations are different in terms of like how you play, deliver, where you have leeway, where you don't, you think, between those two?
I think obviously at a bar, everyone's going out, or most people, I guess, are going out to have a good time. So there's still the urgency to have a good dance floor going and everything like that. But at a wedding, for me, it's just I'm way more choosy on what songs I'm playing. It has to be. The next one has to be a hit, has to be a hit, has to be a hit. So at a bar, like you said, I can get away with blowing a song off here and there just to make someone happy that they requested it and work. And test stuff out where I'm not as likely to do that at a wedding, just to test something out, I guess. So
sure. That's super, super valuable. Awesome. Shawn, I want to thank you so much for coming on the show. It's amazing how fast time flies once we get into like talking about how we do what we do.
That was 15 minutes already?
Can you believe it?
I can't believe it.
I know, insane. So you know what that means, don't you? We'll have to do this again.
Sounds good.
And then we can talk about the other areas, because there's so many other areas where programming music comes into play and managing requests and all of that stuff. But this has been really, really insightful with like the way that you approach your music, the way that you put your mix together. And I think that's going to give a lot of guys a lot of different things to try. To maybe give them a different idea to take a different approach and see what results they produce with it.
Great. Well, thanks for having me.
Awesome. Thank you, Shawn, for being on the show. This is Jason Jones from Mobile Music Thursday saying, till next week, so long.